Welcome back to the Barrel Talk Podcast. We are back with another episode. This is episode 146. Joined with Nick Gwynn, Connor Carsons, Will Snowball on the call. How we doing?
Great.
But we can start out last Thursday. Falcons and Bucks.
Jesus.
Phenomenal game. Is the main question I do have going into this is the Kirko can't play on primetime narrative dead?
Yeah, probably.
100%. 100% that's dead.
It's done now.
Which, I mean,
He was hoping.
it sucks because I had to go back and watch the highlights of the back half of this game because we were watching a terrible movie in the Joker. But, I mean, Kirk Cousins throwing for over 500, one of the only quarterbacks to do it with three different teams. 509, 4 touchdowns, no picks.
No, he threw a pick.
One pick.
It wasn't like it was on fourth down. Like he just tried to fucking get a first down.
That offense in 2-minute drills is so elite.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I see like when it's like throughout the course of the game, like it's kind of stagnant at times. But when it's in a 2-minute drill, like they are moving.
And that's the case for like a lot of teams. Like for some reason teams move the ball so much better like in the 2-minute drill. And I think it's because like there's just less thinking that goes into it. Where they're like, all right, you just need to know what you're gonna go get. Like you guys are gonna run to the sticks, you guys are gonna run out of bounds or near the sideline to get out of bounds. Like we just go. Like for a normal play, you're spending 25 seconds in the huddle, then you're going up there reading the defense and everything. Like 2-minute offense, you're just going.
Yeah.
Like so, I feel like that just happens for a lot of teams.
Yeah, I saw a interview with Kirk Cousins. I think it was with Colin Cowherd actually the day after the game, and he actually said that I didn't look at the stats at all or look this up, but he did say like, yeah, this whole time people were saying I was bad at primetime. I was actually playing pretty much the same. We just were losing instead of winning.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know if that's actually true, but if that's true, I mean, yeah, that would make sense because obviously people look at quarterback wins.
0-11 or something.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad.
And then he got his first win against the Bears.
Yep. So like that definitely could have contributed to it, just the losing.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you
That's
win
probably
or
a
not,
majority of
whether
what
you
it
play good or
was.
not.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, the
everybody's
biggest-
just gonna look at the final box score. Be like, all right, who won? Be like, oh, Kirk Cousins didn't win. That's all they're gonna
Especially
look
looking like back on those, like say if you went back and looked at those 11 games, the stats are probably relatively the same. They're just losing.
at. Mhm.
Go ahead, Will.
Yeah, I mean, our biggest criticism was last week was, can Kirk Cousins figure that offense out? I mean, he hoped.
Finally got Kyle Pitts going.
Yeah.
Drake London breakout.
Drake London breakout game. Ray. I mean, like Darnell Mooney had a
Darnell
good-ass
Mooney.
game. I mean,
He like dropped that pass and hit him right in the chest at the end of the game. I was like, damn, bro. Did he
I
just
thought that
lose
sold
them
the game for them. I actually thought that sold the game for them. I think the Bucks threw that game away.
Oh, they did.
Oh, for sure.
100%.
They should have won that game. I don't know what the play call. I don't know what's going on in the NFL with coaches and their time management lately. Like
Terrible.
the Bills threw the game away again as well. Against the Texans this week. We've had a lot of coaches where it's just questionable decisions at the end of the game. I just don't understand what I think the Bucks. I don't remember how that game ended, but I was watching it and I was like, you guys could have won the game if they just ran it 3 times. I think they ended up throwing or something like that and it stopped the clock. So they had to punt it back, which let the Falcons go and get the fucking game-tying field goal. But I mean, that offense showed out. Kirk didn't look bad also in it wasn't just the 2-minute drill. I mean, that offense was just clicking in general. Kirk was getting his timings down with his receivers. I think partially it's another reason why they decided to let him throw the ball fucking 40 plus times that game. I kind of want to almost feel like he was going, they were clicking and they were like, fuck it. I know we weren't doing well, but it almost makes me wonder if they were like, we got to figure this shit out and let's see if Kirk can get it down. And Bijan's been kind of banged up a little bit. And so I think they are kind of abandoning the run game the last couple weeks just because it hasn't been clicking there either. But it's good to see. And that's scary for that division if the Falcons can get shit figured out.
Yeah, it's been interesting because they'll bring in Algier and he'll get like a 8-yard run. But I think they are a little bit pressured by the whole public saying like, hey, you drafted Bijan. You got to use this dude, which is fair. You do. but I think they don't want to use Algier too much because of that. And Algier's actually been the better runner of the football this year.
So he's been averaging like 9 yards a carry.
Yeah, he's been really, really good. But I'm assuming they don't want to do that too much. You want to use Bijan as a dual threat. They're not throwing him the ball at all. You want to know? Like, I've bet on his receiving yards like the past 2 of the last 3 weeks, and it just don't hit. So like,
it's always
let's figure
Algier
out how to get
receiving.
him. I guess. So let's figure out how to get him the ball in the receiving game. And I think we could really level up this offense.
That was my thing too. Like last week, I said literally you could like line up fucking Bijan in the slot. I mean, he's good enough to put in the slot. And it's just he's been banged up, and I don't think his explosiveness is fully there. He's averaging like 3 yards a carry the last 2 weeks. It's not good. And Darnell Mooney has looked like a solid 2 for them, and Ray McLeod has been good in the slot. But you could run Ray or Bijan in the slot, and both of them would be explosive out of that, and then let Algier, like in certain packages with Algier and Bijan on the field, and you could really throw some defenses off. So I don't know why they're not willing to do that.
To be fair, they played the Chiefs and the Bucs the last 2 weeks, which are pretty good running defenses.
That is true. That is true.
A little bit harder to run
the ball against the Chiefs. I've come to find out.
Yeah, it's hard to run the ball against them.
I feel like teams never run the ball well against the Chiefs.
I just stack the shit out of the box. Fucking Spagnuolo sends 8 every fucking play, man. So it's hard to fucking run on that. But I don't know.
I'm not really tripping about the Bucs at all.
Me either.
I think they abandoned the pass really early. Like Baker only ended up with like 180 yards or something like that, and he had a lot of those early in the first quarter. So I don't see why exactly. I know you're trying to do this game management and run the ball so much, but like Rashad White and Bucky Irving are not as productive as you need them to be, and then you just get on like a 3rd and 8, and Baker just doesn't throw a good enough pass or something. Like
this is a legit like the exact way I would expect the Bucs to lose a game though. High scoring,
right.
Lose a game, like they didn't get the ball in overtime. Kirk Cousins, they go broken play, all of a sudden the receiver goes for 60 fucking yards, ends the game. So like that's the exact way I expect the Bucs to lose a game, and it's also the exact way I would expect the Falcons to also lose this game if the Bucs did win. And like going back to like the Bijan point, I just think this offense has a lot more going on than people thought it would. Like Darnell Mooney being like real deal has it too. Even though I feel like he is the one at times because Drake London can still be up and down, but they have a ton of stuff going on in this offense where like Bijan's just not going to get a lot of work. It's kind of like the Lions where like Gibbs will have a quiet game because Montgomery was eating, and he also had a Monroe with 100 and Laporta had 80. Like it's just, there's just a lot going on in the offense. And like you guys said about the rushing defenses, like they just have played tougher defenses. But I mean, the Bucs and the Falcons, I mean, when they do play again, I think it's going to be the same exact game.
It's in a few weeks, too. They only have a few weeks in between their games.
I think the Falcons have a span. I think they go play the rest of their division in the next 3 weeks. I think they play everyone once, back to back to back to back. So
I think they play Carolina this week.
Yeah.
So, I mean, now with what I've saw from the Saints and Derek Carr's injury up in the air, I think this could be a chance to gain some distance if you're the Bucs or the Falcons from the rest of the division these next couple of weeks because they know they play each other again. But I'm not really worried about either team. I mean, I'm not really worried about the Bucs. I kind of expect this kind of performance from the Bucs, and I expect this from the Falcons because, I mean, this is an offense that is explosive, and I think Kirk Cousins is just going to get better with time.
Yep. Completely agree.
But we can move into the Sunday slate. Well, we can get into the breaking news / the Sunday slate, getting into that morning game, Jets and Vikings. Yes, breaking news today. We can kind of just talk about the Jets as a whole for a little bit here. Obviously, Robert Saleh gets fired this morning, and then they also lose to the Vikings. The main question I had before the firing was, is Rodgers being the main problem for the Jets offense as a whole? Because, I mean, he hasn't looked good. He's not helping it either, and he's kind of been the guy that has been labeled as the savior. I mean, 3 interceptions. I know the Vikings have a really, really good defense, but the last one was specifically on him, the underthrow into Stephon Gilmore.
The second one was on him.
Yeah,
you could say they were all on him.
Yeah.
Even the one not even noticing, like Van Ginkel dropping back into coverage and basically throwing it right to him. Like
that's also on him, but in terms of like the ones that I'm like looking at Rodgers on the sideline, like that's on you is the underthrow. Because Mike Williams wasn't even looking. Yeah.
So he has an underthrow, an overthrow, and a stupid one. So at what point is it all? I think it's all his fault, actually.
Okay.
And I think that Robert Saleh, I know Jets fans really didn't like Robert Saleh coming into the season. They didn't think he was going to keep his job. Like, I think we talked about it. He was one of the coaches on the hot seat. And did I think he was going to get fired this early? No. I mean, they're only 2-3. I mean, I think Isaac said something about them having division games coming up. Our Monday night is a division game against the Bills. So, like, that's kind of a must-win game. You can't really just go in there with a interim head coach. Like, and then Hackett's still there. So you're going to fire Robert Saleh and Nathaniel Hackett gets to keep his job just because he's an Aaron Rodgers guy? Like, I don't know. I think Robert Saleh getting fired is huge smokescreen scapegoat type stuff. And they think it's going to help them, and I do not think it's going to help them at all. Aaron Rodgers needs to play better if the Jets want to have any chance of even doing anything in the division. Like, obviously, you kind of take out I'm not going to completely write off the Dolphins, but I'm going to write them off.
Right, as of now.
Patriots are ass, and then you just have the Bills. So it's not like there's a whole much in front of you. So firing your head coach was probably not a very good idea going into a division matchup. But
it was legit. We have to do something, so we're going to do something like this.
Yeah, they're like, I guess we've lost, 2 in a row now? Like,
and your losses aren't even, like, crazy. Like, yes, you had that bad loss to the Broncos, but the Broncos look a little bit better than people thought going into the year, especially defensively. Yeah. And that weather game was terrible. But then your other 2 losses are the Vikings, who have been a top 3 to 5 team in the league since the start, and then the 49ers, who we know are a Super Bowl contender when healthy. So the losses aren't historically bad. It's just they needed to feel like they needed to do something, and they went and did something like this, which is not going to fix anything. You're terrible. You're mad about the offense, but don't fire your OC and don't want to put any blame on Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers has way too much pull with what he's doing with the Jets. Oh, yeah. I think it's crazy. He's obviously going to get his way at the end of the day, but it's just they're in a lose-lose situation with that.
I think this is like one of the most interesting situations because I think they don't know at all what Aaron's going to do at the end of the season. And that's why they fired him, because I think they think, like you said, we need to do something. Like, he could just retire at the end of the year. I don't think they have any pull or say or know what he's going to do at all.
He could go to a different team for all they know.
Yeah, he could do anything. And obviously, he hasn't been great. He also had 2 games where he played really good in the first 3 games. So he's been up and down, which we should have all expected. I don't know why anybody ever expected him to just come in and play like an MVP. Even when he left Green Bay, he wasn't playing like an MVP.
He's 40.
He's 40 years old, coming off an Achilles injury. This wasn't really going to work. I think, personally, with Robert Saleh, I don't think he should have been the coach to start the year. I think there were a few good candidates out there. The guy that left the Titans, and obviously Bill Belichick out there. Vrabel,
yeah.
I think there was a few good candidates out there that they should have looked at. We knew Robert Saleh wasn't going to be an offensive guy. We knew Nathaniel Hackett is a not good offensive coordinator. So I don't know what the expectations were really coming from. We had them maybe making the playoffs, if I'm thinking back to our predictions episode. But people thinking they were going to come in and be a title contender, I just don't really see how they thought that.
I think, I don't know. I think they're too eager to abandon the run game. You have one of the best young running back. You probably have you have one of the best young running back cores right now in the league. They've proven, we all know what Breece Hall can do. And then Braylon Allen has kind of been a breakout kind of guy that when they've used him in the right way, or the games that they've actually split carries between those two, Braylon Allen has looked very, very solid for them. But they're partially they go down early. But it seems like they go down a score and and Nathaniel Hackett almost is just fuck it, Rodgers, go do it all. And he's just forcing Rodgers to go, and maybe it's Rodgers. I mean, maybe it really is. Maybe Rodgers is I'm doing this. I know you're calling the plays, but don't call the run. I don't know. It could be kind of like a Ben Roethlisberger situation there in New York. And I don't hate the Saleh fire. I hate the Saleh firing this early, middle of the season. It doesn't help morale. It doesn't help scheme. It doesn't help anything like that. If you're going to fire him at the beginning, or if you're going to wait until the end. But it's just how where the Steelers were in fucking purgatory with Matt Canada last year, and every Steeler fan wanted him fired mid-year, but we didn't, because you can't change offensive schemes middle of the year. and firing Saleh when he's a player's coach isn't going to help any of the Jets players, in my opinion, especially with where they're at now and how they're struggling.
Especially when they know him getting fired, what that stemmed from. It stemmed from Aaron Rodgers. It's a lie if you think it's anything different.
Exactly.
Dude, and like every missed throw, this motherfucker gets up and starts complaining. As if it's not his fault.
As if he didn't throw the ball.
Like, he was complaining after the Mike Williams pick where he threw a back shoulder fade that was in front of Mike Williams.
Wow,
so
he's just not the personality for this experiment. Sadly.
Yeah. And it's like
they need a Russell Wilson.
I mean,
that's what they needed.
I
know that he wasn't great, but like I'm saying, just go back a few years.
But like,
they needed
think
his
Russell
personality.
Wilson, there's a chance that he could be playing better than what Rodgers is giving you. Like
there's definitely a chance.
Any kind of pressure that gets to Aaron Rodgers, he's damn near just going right to the ground. He gets out of the pocket sometimes when it's a wide open lane. A little bit.
If it's only wide open, that's it.
Yes, he's a statue. Even then, off the Achilles, we saw this in week 1. He's a statue in the pocket. He's rarely ever going to get out of the pocket. So if you can get the ounce of pressure to Aaron Rodgers, this isn't the Aaron Rodgers of old that's going to be able to make a play out of it. Comparing it to Russell Wilson, at least Russell Wilson's going to be able to get out of the pocket when he wants to for the most part. He's not coming off an Achilles injury. So, like, I just think he has too much pull. I think he has way too much control. I think the locker room knows it with his fire now, and I think it's kind of going to cause a rift in that locker room because, like, everybody's going to look at Nathaniel Hackett now, like, what's going to change from the firing? There's nothing that's going to change. Even if you go get Devontae Adams, nothing's really going to change for you, I feel like. The offensive play calling is still going to be shit. You have Breece Hall, who has yet to get going this year. I'm not going to put it all on coaching. It's also on Breece Hall as well at times, but, like, I just don't see any change. This is legit. They're doing something because they felt like they had to do something. Like, it's not anything crazy that's going to come from this.
No.
And it's damn near in their best interest for saying he had to be escorted out of the building is wicked. It's damn near in their best interest to hope Aaron Rodgers retires. Because then that opens up money to go get somebody younger, more fitting for your timeline on the team, because you have young studs on the team. Looking at like a Brock Purdy, who you could just throw a bag at, see what happens there. Like, I just think Aaron, this whole experiment has just gotten messy. And
I can see like Nathaniel Hackett getting like fired later in the year just to piss off Aaron Rodgers into getting him to leave or something. I can see this just getting so worse and worse and worse.
Dude, this fucking the rabbit hole.
They're messy. Aaron Rodgers is the most messy quarterback like we've ever seen.
So the Jets are just cooked bad. Again. They're already cooked again.
Yes. And the organization deserves it, to be fair. Fuck that front office.
I'm not going to say they're cooked because of Con. I'm not going to say they're cooked, though. Because of what Connor said. Like, that division is like, you never know what Buffalo you're going to get on a week-to-week basis. Like, they're still going to be floating around to be the two, and with Tua being hurt, like, they're going to float around being the second best team in that division until, like, the Dolphins get it together.
So they're lucky Tua got hurt, basically.
Yes, they're very fortunate Tua got hurt.
Like, that's about it.
So, if Tua didn't get hurt, it was wraps. Like, Dolphins.
Oh, yeah. Their season would have been cooked. I think that's the saving grace for the Jets in their season right now. Mm-hmm. And even if they go trade for Devontae Adams, like, they're another team that's like an Aaron Rodgers injury away from their season being cooked too. Like, it's not saying like Aaron Rodgers is going to be able to finish this entire season. Like, he had a couple scary falls and moments. He was limping around against the Vikings. So, like, I just think it's super interesting how all this is played out. How a couple weeks into the season can really change the perspective on a team.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people in the media were saying that the Jets were for real and they're going to be legit. And I was one of them saying that they could be winners of that division because of Buffalo looking into the season. I wasn't big on the Dolphins. So, like, a couple weeks in the NFL and all of a sudden the coach is fired and now we're looking at them being cooked is insane.
Like, what did they think was going to happen? They're 2-3. Did they think they were going to be like 4-1?
Like I'm saying,
did you think you were going to be 5-0 or something?
Yeah, like especially looking at
what were you expecting?
Like, I get it. You want to go into every game thinking you're going to win, obviously.
Right.
But like, you drop a couple games to some good teams, and you just like
you're like okay, we're done.
The house is on fire. Like,
I don't know.
That front office was like, we're Super Bowl contenders, 100%. They dropped the games of the good teams, and they were like, "Fuck you, Saleh, get out."
Fuck you, Saleh, you're the problem.
Yeah.
Like,
Get
you
out
know
of
what?
here.
Yeah, this
That
was
makes me
probably our
think
head
that they were
coach.
just waiting for any excuse to do something like that because
Probably.
the Niners lost in week 1 on primetime. Aaron Rodgers' first game back, they had a good drive, but we knew it was going to be shaky. Nobody really went into the game thinking the Jets were going to be able to really win that game on the road like that with Aaron
what I'm
Rodgers
saying.
coming off injuries.
Are we scapegoating already?
I think they're scapegoating way too prematurely.
Crazy.
Bro, this would be
it's-
like
Saleh is also not a good coach though. So like this
No.
scapegoating,
It's
like, I
just
don't think
hard
he would
for
succeed anywhere else either.
Defensive-minded coaches like just never pan out as head coaches.
Yeah, you have to be like a
Like-
very special like defensive coordinator to be able to be a good head coach.
I don't
He's
know.
gonna
This
be-
is,
He just needs to go back to being a defensive coordinator. That's it.
He's going to be like Flores, I feel like.
Yeah.
To where
me,
he's
this
going to
is
like
like
be
if
out
the-
and then go get a job
bad.
somewhere else and be a DC. And then all of a sudden they're going to be like, wow, he's a great defensive mind. But not everybody is made to
Yep.
be a coordinator to head coach jump like that. It's just not for everybody.
In New York, like he just
Go ahead, Will.
no, I was gonna be like, this is like if the fucking Lions gave up on Dan Campbell after 2 years, man. Like
Mhm.
Dan Campbell is 10 times the coach, 100 times the coach Saleh is. I'm not saying that, but it's not like the Lions weren't struggling when he first came in too.
It's
And this
almost
would be like them being like, "Hey, fuck, you get out." Like,
yeah, it's like almost the Lions front office knew that they were going to be bad for those first 2 years, and they're like, "Holy shit! Like we're going to be bad. Why would we fire our coach?" And like now, look at the Lions. Like they just won the division last year. They're good now. Be like, how do you not like? I don't know. Just and we already talked about this. If Isaac was here, NFL GMs are stupid. They're all stupid. They're all
so
fucking
bad.
idiots.
they're so
like-
bad.
I don't know how you could have some of the richest people in the world be the dumbest motherfuckers on the planet. It's like it's just the craziest thing.
I just don't, and I will give him grace because I don't think a head coach has gotten a job and went through a worse quarterback situation than Saleh has through this tenure. So, I don't think he's the greatest coach, but
I could
also,
think of a couple different coaches that went through some bad quarterbacks.
but like this is just horrific. The
Oh no,
quarterbacks that
Kenny
he's
Pickett,
went through.
man. Kenny
I
Pickett
feel
or
bad,
Mason
like, he doesn't
Rudolph.
deserve
Like,
to get, like he didn't deserve like for Aaron Rodgers to be just continuously come at him like this though.
Oh no,
I don't
Oh, no,
think
this
Aaron
is wild.
Rodgers ever liked Saleh.
No, he never.
There's
did.
no
no,
way. Like
no. So like he didn't.
I mean,
deserve that.
fucking week 1, you saw Aaron Rodgers fucking
when he
look at
shoved
it,
him,
give him the craziest look, bro. You gave him
I
the
saw
like he
the-
was gonna fucking murder him for
the show.
hugging him.
Yeah, the show.
Aaron Rodgers.
He tried to like puts out off the side. He's like, yeah, like he's not a hugging guy, or like something, or like I'm not a hugger.
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
like,
And then
alright.
in the press conference, Rodgers was like, "All I said was, it's too
Two
early."
scores, or he said two
Or-
scores.
Yeah, it's only 2
Yeah.
scores.
He wants to go
Yeah.
with 2 scores.
I was like, "Shut up, bro! Look at your face when he tried to fucking give you a hug, bro. Look at your fucking face. Shut your ass
like
up,
that's
man."
your quarterback to head coach relationship. Like that's
He's one of the best
insane.
quarterbacks of all time, but for what you need sometimes, he's the worst that can be.
He's literally turning into fucking Kevin Garnett on the Nets. Like what? Like Aaron, stop. Like hang him up if you're really gonna play this fucking bad.
But the problem, I think I'm all blame on Aaron Rodgers. You're coming off
I'm
in a
not all blame. I'm not all blame. Like he's not. I don't think he's the one calling all the plays and everything. Like
I'm
everything
not
that's
talking
going
about
on.
this season though.
Like I hate that they're out of the pistol a lot more now. Like I fucking hate that. I also just hate the pistol offense. But when I watch Aaron Rodgers go out there and make these shitty throws and throw 3 interceptions, it's like he was throwing those 3 interceptions to any team. Let's be real. 2 of those were 2 really bad throws, and then a linebacker dropped back into cover. Like I don't know what the fuck. He's seeing ghosts, dude. Like dead ass.
I'm more so on the side of I'm blaming him because of how the season has started, because of the whole him not being at training camp kind of thing. Like you had an Achilles tear, you didn't play all of last year. You're obviously not going to be having the greatest chemistry with a Garrett Wilson and everything like that in a Brees Hall. So like him not being around the team at all really throughout the process of training camp from reports and from what we have heard going into the year was already a red flag. Then you go into the year, you have that one great drive with Garrett Wilson. Everything else looks shaky after that throughout the entire course of the first 5 games of the season. So, like, I do blame him. He's the quarterback. He's supposed to be the leader. He wants all the praise and control over everything, but wants none of the blame when shit's going rocky. He always tries to do some stupid, like, deter the blame and everything else like that. Like, he's one of the greatest quarterbacks ever. But the facts are the facts that he wants all the praise and he wants none of the backlash that comes his way when there is backlash to come. And this is why Robert Saleh got fired. because they had to blame somebody. You're obviously not going to blame Aaron Rodgers. His guy's Nathaniel Hackett, so you can't blame him to piss Rodgers off. So, like, it's a whole different dumb connection thing that led to Saleh being fired for legit, honestly, no reason. And it sucks because they're going to fuck around and go out here and beat Buffalo on Monday night for some fucking reason. Yes, they're going to go ahead and beat Buffalo because Buffalo's going to be playing like shit against the Jets, like always. And then they're going to win that game. And all of a sudden, oh, now Robert Saleh, maybe he was the problem.
I'm pretty sure it's in New York, too.
So, and then Josh Allen's already banged up. Like, it's just, they're going to win that game, and it's going to be stupid narratives after that. That's kind of just my feeling on it.
Yeah, it's just it's a fucked up situation.
They're back to being shit. They're never gonna. The Jets are like I don't want to. They're not like skill player wise. They're not on the Browns level, but front office wise, they are on the Browns level. Like they're never gonna. They're in purgatory. They're in fucking purgatory. Like we really thought like maybe it's the Jets' time. Like we thought, oh maybe they're out, and it's like now this shit is all going down. It's like Jesus Christ. Like you really just have fucking idiots up there, man, making these decisions. I don't know. It sucks. I don't want the Jets to be fucking pissed anymore. They've been pissed for so long, and it's just like you're not going to get anywhere with what's going on, with the decisions being made right now.
No. Now Connor is on the pod. We can kind of talk about the Bears, give his take on it, because me and Nick have been giving our takes on it, and Will about Chicago and the Bears.
So last week was
the Rams.
Beat the Rams, and then beat the Panthers, and then it was what was before? Colts. I wasn't here for the Colts one.
No.
Yeah. Colts one. Colts one was a little rough. That was a little rough game. That looked gross. But Rams game, awesome. We look good, and then coming back, we win that game, a game you're supposed to win, and then you come back and take on the worst team in the league. Hey, good teams are supposed to beat bad teams. That's really all it is. We're better than them. We're gonna beat them. They went up 7-0. I texted in the chat. I said we suck again. We were already ready to fucking write it off, and then it was fucking 36 straight points in a row. So it's almost like this is what happens when you get a run game going. It's almost like this is what happens when your O-line gives Caleb Williams time. Like it's almost what happens when the wide receivers are all healthy. Like it's so crazy that this is all like it's all gelling together now. Like, yeah, we play the Jags in London next week. That'll be fun. Or this Sunday. They should win that game. You know, I think we're better than the Jaguars. But Caleb looks better. He's getting better every week. I think this is what was going to happen, what everybody thought was going to happen. Start out really slow. I mean, he's a rookie. He's 5 games into your rookie year. Like, he's just getting better. He looks more poised in the pocket. He looks good. Swift finally decided to run the ball well today, or on Sunday. I don't know. Everything looked good. There's not much to say. Just like we played the Panthers. Like we were just supposed to beat the shit out of the Panthers. It's like Sean Johnson's becoming a touchdown stealer. Love that though. Love
yes, sir.
Playing. Top 10 tight end Cole Kmet's still getting some run. I mean,
our division's gonna heat up so much once those division games start going at the back half of the year.
Yeah, our first one is week 10.
Damn.
Yeah.
You gonna talk about how Brisker murdered a man?
Yeah, Brisker murdered Tommy Tremble and then got a concussion himself. So that was
did he?
Cool. Yeah, he's not flying to London.
Oh, that sucks.
So we have a backup safety, and I think it's Jonathan Owens.
He's been balling this year too.
I love Brisker. I knew right as we drafted him he was going to be the replacement for Eddie Jackson. So, and then we got rid of Eddie Jackson, and we were like, all right, Brisker, get in there. I've always loved our secondary. I mean, our defense is great. Like it's like double-digit games now. We haven't allowed over 21 points or something like that. And then we have the longest home winning record in the league, like 8 games in a row. So we're a different team at home. When we're away, we suck. Just know that we are terrible when we were away. But I mean,
this is technically a home game in London.
Yeah, we are technically the home team. So we'll see.
That's stupid, though, isn't it? Yeah, like the Jags, like
it's just like the Super Bowl. I
don't know. The Jags run London though.
Yeah, but I usually just thought that the London games counted as home games for Jacksonville because that was like their second place.
No, it literally takes away a home game.
That's stupid for you. Yeah, that takes away your guys' home game. That's dumb.
So now we have one less home game than everybody else in the league because we played in London.
So
Yeah, I don't like that because I don't like that because that's your second. That's Jacksonville's second home. How are those games not their home games?
because
No.
isn't
Technically,
Jacksonville
that's
there
supposed
for
to be
2
that's
weeks?
supposed to be a game against them at home, like
It's so
at
dumb.
Soldier. But no.
Wait, 2
Yeah.
weeks?
Huh?
They're there
I'm
2
pretty
weeks this year?
Yeah, so they keep the Jag. They don't want to make the Jags fly back and forth multiple times, so they just put their games back to back, or like they're gonna have their bye in between them or something like that.
I think they play
Right.
who do they play?
Bears and
I was gonna say the Colts, but I don't know.
because it'll usually be they play in London 2 weeks and then they have the bye after.
That's insane.
Yeah, so they play the Jags, or they play the Bears this week and then the Patriots next week.
Oh my god. Ew.
Jags,
Both at
Patriots
8:30 in the morning,
8:30 in the morning.
Jags, Patriots.
They putting up classics for London
Uh-huh.
crowd.
Hey,
Uh-huh.
that's Drake May, man.
Ramondre Stevenson time. Yes, sir.
Moving on to the next topic. It's more so a question, like, because we've talked about this in the group chats and also like while we're watching the games and stuff. How good are the Commanders and Jane Daniels exactly? Like, what is the perfect word or phrase that you guys can put together on how good the Commanders actually are? Because they got the Ravens this week, but this offense has looked dominant. I mean, what's the wording for it?
I think it's just good. I think they look good.
I'm going with
I
new.
think they're division winners.
They look
I'm going with
better.
new.
New.
I think we're going with new.
New.
Rookie
Okay.
quarterback and fucking Cliff Kingsbury in a different division. I think defenses don't know what Jaden Daniels gonna do. I think this year they're going to be very good, but I think as soon as teams start getting some tape on him and teams start realizing like, okay, let's, if they can, I don't know. I think it's Jaden Daniels is a rookie and there's no tape. There's nothing. Teams don't know what to expect coming in. I mean, they're trying to prepare, but it's obviously not working. And I like the offense. It's very good. It's very explosive. I think it's good. I'm not trying to say that they're not good, but I think that at some point we're going to see them not stagger out, but it's not going to be as electric as it is right now.
If there was any week for them to kind of get exposed, like it's against the Ravens. Like if they put up a good front against the Ravens, I mean maybe you're sitting there like, okay, maybe they can hang with like the upper echelon teams, because I don't actually know who the Commanders have all played. Like you played the Browns, who are pissed. The Bengals who are
Bucks.
Piss. Defense is piss.
Bucks.
They played the
Didn't they lose to the Bucks?
Oh, they might have.
Isn't that their one
Hold on,
loss?
I'll go look.
have
I think
no
it is
idea.
actually. But that was a high scoring game, I thought. So
Giants.
beat the Browns, piss. Cardinals defense, piss. Bengals, piss. Beat the Giants.
Pissed.
Their
Giants
front
are-
seven's good.
The Giants
That's about it.
as a team are pissed.
Got killed
They-
by the Bucks, actually.
I can reiterate that they didn't score a touchdown against the Giants because they kicked 7 field goals or 6
Oh.
field goals.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, you're right. Oh my god,
So they're
that's gross.
Because the
Yeah.
Giants lost their kicker.
Because I remember.
And then they got
Giants.
killed by the Bucks,
Yeah.
and then beat
I
the Patriots.
think
No, that was
they are
Texans.
gonna contend for winning the NFC East because the rest of the NFC East is so questionable. I think
Yes.
they're winning the division right now. I think the Eagles will come back to form a little bit. I don't think they're going to be shit the entire year, and the Cowboys are just going to be a 8-9 win team. So they're
I
going
need
to
to
at
see
least.
them play the Cowboys and the Eagles.
I really want
I
to see a
them play the
Cowboys
Cowboys and
Commanders
the
game.
Eagles and how that looks. Then we'll be like, okay, that'll
So-
give you more the Eagles, I think, than the Cowboys. Right now, I'd be like, all right, this will give me the baseline of what I can expect.
Yeah, but like, I don't think they're going to be like Super Bowl contender or anything
No.
like that because you never know what a rookie's going to look like in the playoffs. That defense is shit. And yeah, that's about it. But like they look good, man.
I think they'll be in the conversation for winning that division, but I think at the end of the year, they will fall off. I think they'll drop both games against the Eagles like usual, and I think they'll at best split with the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys, if their defense is healthy, is going to handle them. In my opinion, I know the offense is looking really, really good, but look at all the defenses they played. Bengals bottom 5, Cardinals bottom 5, Browns they on paper have a good defense, but got carved up because they have no offense. So that negates everything.
So their
Giants
defense is on the field for 100% of the game.
Yes. So Giants good front seven, terrible secondary. So and then the Bucks, they got killed by, and the Bucks don't even have that great of a defense. So looking at that, until they play high caliber, I'm not saying the Eagles and Cowboys have high caliber defenses, but it's more of a balance. They have good offenses and solid enough defenses. So I want to see them play teams that are a little bit more of both, rather than just being able to just throw it up to Terry McLaurin every goddamn play and then get a big lead.
Get that this week.
Yeah. So
God, their fucking schedule is so easy.
That'll be our first.
Their last four games are pretty tough though.
Yes. But like, other than the Ravens, they play the Panthers, the Bears, the Giants, the Steelers, and the Titans. And then other than that, they have the division games. But like the Bears, if the Bears keep progressing, they could be tough.
I thought that game was
that defense. I want to see that defense because the Bears have a top 8 defensive unit this year.
Yeah,
I want to see them play against
tough.
that level of defense.
The Panthers suck. The Giants suck. At this point, the Steelers fucking suck. The Eagles will probably get it together. Cowboys get it together. The Titans suck. The Saints are, I don't know. The Saints, I don't know. Like, fuck. And then Eagles and Falcons. So, I mean, I don't know. They could squeak out. I think you're right. I think that the immaturity of this team will start showing down the line when you go up against the division. And you start going up against the Ravens and stuff like that.
They're hooping right now, for sure. But a lot of those games that you think are going to be easy wins, like I'm not going to be surprised if they lose to the Titans. Realistically,
that'd be so tough.
Titans are pretty fucking bad.
But like, I'm not going to be. I'm not going to be
like, holy shit.
I'm not going to be.
It depends how they lose.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like I'm not going to be shocked if they get ran by the Saints at noon. Like I'm not going to be shocked if they drop a couple.
The Saints are pretty fucking bad. Like ran by the Saints.
Saints ran the Cowboys.
Well, look at them now.
Well, hey now. Hey now. Let's not only look at them playing KC last night, who's the best team in the league.
It's fluid.
I just think there's a couple wins that you would look at and think are guarantees that are not fully. Just like they could drop a couple.
I mean, that happens every week.
Yeah.
Happens every week.
So it's gonna be interesting. I think at the end of the year, at the last 3 to 4 weeks of the season, Cowboys, Eagles, and Commanders will all be in kind of that 3-way tie for that division. And I think the Commanders will end up sliding out, and Cowboys and Eagles will be above them. But it will be still a great year for them, if that makes sense. I think they'll kind of spin out towards the back half.
This year, it's already a success because you already know what he's going to be. You know, Jay Daniels going to be a star.
Yeah. Another rookie quarterback finally getting the start. This also just came out today. Drake Maye is now the starter for the Patriots.
When he just started week 1.
On this, I said, when will he start? Now we know.
I think starting Jacoby Brissett made no fucking sense. It didn't make any sense. What pick was Drake Maye? 3?
Yeah.
I don't know how you could have a top 5 pick and he's just not playing. Like, I don't, like, in the quarterback spot, in that quarterback room for that franchise. Like, what were they thinking? They're
it's
like,
not like Brissett was like super established there.
Jacoby Brissett. Like, come on, man. Like, we're acting like Jacoby Brissett's a fucking, like, 9-time Super Bowl winning champion. He's just going to form fucking Drake Maye into this beast now. Like, Drake Maye was a day 1 starter. He could have gone in right away. Like, I don't know. I thought it was just a waste of time.
They were acting like Brissett is, like, super established, been with the Pats for years. They legit brought him in so they didn't have to play Drake Maye right away.
He was a bridge QB. I mean, from what they were saying after they drafted Drake Maye was that he was not starter ready. And what they were saying from a couple weeks ago was that Drake Maye actually still had a long way to go. But I just don't think they're just not getting production out of Brissett, and I think they're at the point where they're like, fuck it. Like, throw him in. Like, at the end of the day, having Maye sit behind Brissett for some weeks wasn't a bad idea. He's a veteran. It's not like he hasn't been here before. It's not like he hasn't gotten wins under his belt with shit teams. So I didn't hate bringing Brissett in and having a veteran guy come in and be in front of him for a little bit. But I'm a little surprised by the move with what the team was saying. I don't hate the move. Do I not like it for Maye's health? Maybe a little bit. That O-line is horrible. But they run the ball majority of the time anyway. Their OC is like, fuck it, let's just run the ball 20 times a game. And Drake Maye might only throw the ball 15 times. So it's not like he's going to be under pressure a lot. So fuck it, get him the experience. Why not?
Okay.
I honestly don't have an opinion because I think we're just looking towards next year anyway. Either way,
Yeah.
100%.
The only way this has any ramifications is if he like tears an ACL or something.
I think you're going to look at, hopefully he has some sparks and some moments that you like going into next year.
Yeah.
You kind of have a better idea of what you need to do with your roster going forward to better build around him. Because I think that's the main problem, the main reason. I like him sitting a little bit. I wish it kind of would have been a little bit longer to where like maybe you get to the back half and you kind of see that, all right, we're just going to already look towards next year and get a top draft pick, but we want to see what we have here in May with this current group and who we bring back next year. But I'm all for like QB sitting. I really am all for it because I think it is the best way to help them develop. In this situation, the only thing I do agree with Connor about is it only really works when you have a super really established guy
Yes.
like Kirk Cousins and Penix. I think Kirk Cousins is an established enough quarterback to where you're like, okay, we're going to run with Kirk Cousins. He's our guy for the next 2 to 3, and then we're going to have Penix come in, and hopefully this young core is already ready to compete and win. But, like, Brissett's not that guy. Like, it's not – I think that's where I got the kind of mix up because I'm like, you might as well just give Drake Maye the reps now.
Well, you're looking at other quarterbacks that got drafted. Okay, so Caleb, day one starter. Jaden, day one starter. Drake Maye should have been a day one starter, but he has to sit behind Jacoby Brissett. Penix, I don't know if he would have been a day one starter just because we didn't know he was going to go to Atlanta. That was completely out of left field. But if, let's say he gets drafted by like Denver, like if he falls to Denver or the Raiders, like probably
He starts
a
day
one
one.
starter.
He
Why do you
starts
think
day
Bo
one.
Nix is a day one starter at Denver? Like, it's just so crazy that like you drafted the need and then you didn't use it. That's what I'm confused about. Like, I don't understand why you like. I don't know. It's just so weird. It's
There
like,
genuinely had to be stuff at camp. There had to be things
had
that
to
they
have
saw
been.
at camp because Bo Nix wasn't supposed to be a day one starter. They were in a
Like-
genuine quarterback battle, and Bo Nix won the battle. Like, Jared Stidham was... God, that's gross to say.
Like,
but
I get
Jared
you had
Stidham
Jared
and Zach
Stidham.
Wilson were legitimately fighting for that one spot, and then Bo Nix in preseason fucking hooped, and they were like, Bo Nix is starting. So Bo Nix
Yeah.
wasn't actually even supposed to be the day one starter. Penix probably would have been in the same situation as Bo Nix if he goes to either of those teams, like the Raiders or the fucking Broncos, where he's in a battle. They know he has a lot to grow. He's older, so they probably would have wanted him to start. But if he's not going to show that he can start, he wouldn't have started. They're going to go with the guys who have had experience. And it's the same thing there's the only thing I can think of is the Patriots saw stuff in training camp and in preseason out of Maye that they didn't like, and they just thought to themselves, we're going to go with Brissett. It's the safe option. Let's see what we can do with it. And now they're not succeeding, and so they're kind of throwing the towel in, and they're like, fuck it, let's get him the reps. It can't hurt anything unless he takes a serious injury. And the way that offense is ran, he shouldn't be under duress to take serious injury because I don't even know. I can't remember their OC's name, but he is very, very just run the ball, keep the time of possession, keep the game close. And so I think that's why they're willing to be like, let's throw Drake Maye in. But there just had to be stuff they didn't like out of him coming out.
Like if I'm using a top 5 pick on you or even top 10 pick, like you're playing, like I'm throwing you into the fire, bro. Like even if we're a bad team, like, and I'm not even talking like just quarterback, like I'm talking any position. Like if I'm using this much value and I'm taking you, like you are my guy, like you're gonna play. Now, am I saying is it gonna like pan out? Like obviously, like the Bryce Young, like he was the guy, like Heisman winner, blah blah blah, number 1 consensus pick. Like they take him, and he just happened to not pan out. Like that just is what it is. Like then you move on. But if I'm taking you top 5 pick, you are gonna play, and I don't want you sitting behind anybody. Like especially someone like Jacoby Brissett. Like
I think it's
not,
team. It's also what infrastructure is already on the team. Like the Bears and Caleb Williams, obviously, but the Bears also have talent on both sides of the ball compared to like the Patriots. Like all 3 wide receivers will be the one in New England on Chicago. and I'm glad we brought this up about kind of like the rookie quarterbacks in general, because like I also listen to another podcast called Skull North, and they do like hot takes every Monday after the games, after the Sunday games. He had one of the guys on there had an interesting take about how he thinks if JJ McCarthy wasn't hurt, Sam Darnold would have started the year up to this point, and during the early bye, since it's such an early bye, Kevin O'Connell would have switched to JJ McCarthy after the bye, and it would have been
5-0.
Yeah.
That's a wicked take.
That's crazy.
He said
That's
it was
a wicked
he
take.
said it was a wicked hot take. But
No, that isn't a wicked hot take.
His reasoning behind it was because he's also, mind you, a little context, he's also somebody who believes that JJ McCarthy is the guy for the Vikings going forward. I also am on that mindset. But like,
We'll see.
Yeah, I also need to see. I'm glad McCarthy is sitting because I don't think we're 5-0 if he plays. But going back to the take, it was like through this first 5 weeks, you've seen kind of the absolute peak of what Sam Darnold can give you. And I think the unknown of if JJ McCarthy can surpass that through the back half of the year with what you've already seen from this offense, that's what more the take was coming from. As if you made the switch at the bye, maybe JJ McCarthy gives you a higher ceiling. But with JJ McCarthy hurt, it doesn't matter. But that was just his take. I thought it was super interesting because, like, could you, like, if you did make the flip, then it's like, and if you still kept winning with McCarthy, then you're looking at KOC in a whole different light. If it was just like, if it's really just like his infrastructure, almost like a McVay, if you will, like kind of comparison.
I mean, personally, if my quarterback is 5-0, I'm
Mhm.
probably not going to switch him out. I mean, personally,
Darnold's putting up like MVP stats, man.
that's
At
what
least
I
for
mean.
the first
He's
few
still
weeks, like
playing decent as well. So I, don't
I
know.
thought it was just an interesting perspective on it.
I'm already seeing shit about them. Fields lost one game, and they're like, "All right, Russ, it's time."
Well,
I'm
that's
like, "What the fuck?"
that's a different story, though.
I'm like, "Man." No, I'm just like saying like switching out quarterbacks. Like,
Oh,
but I'm glad we kind of touched on all the rookie quarterbacks and all their situations because there are some interesting stories around the league with all of them. But going on, we can talk about two teams that it's kind of question marks over. Is the Bengals season, is it over with now?
yeah.
Because
Are
that
they 1-4
missed
now?
field goal, yeah.
Yes.
Because that missed snap.
well,
That defense
miss
isn't getting
hold.
better. That
let's
defense is
take
getting
a
no
look
better.
at the Bengals schedule here.
It took Joe Burrow
I mean, they
throwing
can try.
5 touchdowns. It took Joe Burrow throwing 5 touchdowns for them to be in that game, and he's putting up like and it's Joe Burrow has proven he's not doing that every week, and that defense ain't getting no type of stops, man.
But
So-
They played Baltimore.
Yeah.
Okay,
They
Yeah.
should have won that game. They were a correct hold
Oh yeah.
for McPherson winning that game. I'm not putting that loss on Burrow or the coaching staff or the defense because if it wasn't for the right hold on that field goal, they would have won that game.
But when your offense is playing that good and your defense allows the Ravens they were up 10 points throughout that entire game. They were trading back, blow, but and then the Ravens got a pick because Joe Burrow made a stupid throw, and they came down and tied the game. I mean, you can't like your defense cannot get a stop. They cannot get a legitimate stop. There's a reason they are 1-4. That defense is bottom 3. It's so bad. It's such a liability for them. And I like their offense. It's starting to come together. I mean, T. Higgins is back. He hooped. Fucking Jamar Chase had 193 fucking receiving yards, man. Like the fact that your offense put up those numbers, but your defense can't get you enough stops to let you win the game, and you know that you can rely on them like that. What your cat doing, man?
I don't know.
What
They
your-
were one
Crazy.
stop away. They
But
were
you're
one stop away.
and you can't get it. Like that defense is just so bad.
Felt
It
like
just
they were one stop away the whole game.
yes, and they just couldn't get there. And it was
They were
like
moving on offense. They were doing whatever they wanted to offensively.
it just makes me. I just don't have hope. I don't have hope for them because that defense,
Hey.
that offense gets stopped. That offense doesn't put those numbers up, and that game is so different. That
We might
game,
have
they're
hope
gonna
next
get
week.
blown out, man.
Hey, no, I don't know. In
I mean,
New York against the Giants,
Loss.
Monday night. or
That'd be
Sunday
low-key a
night,
good game.
Sunday night.
That would low key be a good game.
You lose that game, wrap
It's
it
over.
up.
It's
Wrap
over.
it up. because then you start getting into like all division games.
No,
And
dude.
like you have a couple games here and there against like Las Vegas and like the Chargers, but like
Oh, they could lose to the Chargers.
but fuck, man. Like
they could.
if you wanted to be realistic, I think the Bengals ceiling right now might be 6 wins.
Fuck.
Like it's crazy and it's crazy to say that because like you're looking at like the Giants, Cleveland. You got the Giants. You're away these next 2 games. So you're at New York, at Cleveland. Both those games are going to be close for no fucking reason.
You're not winning both of those games.
Then your third
you would
game,
think
you're
you are,
going
you're
back
not.
home against Philly.
Oh God.
Okay, you're going to play Philly. Then you have the Raiders, whatever the Raiders. But then you're at Baltimore. Be like, oh, that'll be cool. Then you're at LA. Then you're hitting a Week 12 bye.
Damn, their bye's
Then
late as fuck.
Then you got Pittsburgh, Dallas, Cleveland, Pittsburgh. Like, oh man, it's just it might be tough sledding for the Bengals.
See, I'm gonna say no, kind of to the situation we talked about with the Jets, because when I'm looking at the Bengals and how slow the Ravens have started off, they're turned it up as of late. But like, even with how close that game was, with how bad that defense is, there's not a lot in that division. And like it's been a tough division, but like the Browns are shit.
Yeah,
I think the Steelers are on the bridge of.
We're on the bridge of shit.
Yeah,
the
so
Steelers are gonna rack up the wins that the Bengals
Yes.
aren't. That's the thing. And the Ravens are gonna like just keep going. Like the Ravens are just gonna keep winning. Like
I think if they can win these next 2, I think they're gonna be okay. If they win these next 2, I think they'll be
3 and
okay.
4?
Yes, I think
3
if
and
you can get to
4.
3 and 4, you can be fine because the Browns are shit, and you know the Steelers at some point will fall off. So I think if you're looking at if we can just get to 8 or 9 wins and give ourselves a shot to make the playoffs, I think they'll be fine. But they have to win these next 2. You can't go and split these next 2. You have to win these next 2.
They really might lose to the Giants, bro. That front 7 is so good. That defensive line is so good. Joe Burrow is going to be in hell the entire game. And oh my God,
it will,
like
both of these games will be good games because the Bengals defense is that bad. But I think if you can get to 3 and 4, I think you can look at your division and be like, we can probably win both against Cleveland, and we can have a shot to win both against the Steelers.
You
would think, but Joe Burrow sucks against Cleveland. Actually,
he does. He actually, and he sucks against us. He sucks against us.
There's 2 ways. I think they can either they win these next 2, or you split or lose the next 2,
and
you trade
cooked.
T. Higgins.
Oh shit!
And get value while you can.
Yep. T. Higgins, welcome to the Steelers. In division trade. Fuck it. Might as well
because
throw the season away.
You cannot, knowing what you have problem wise with the roster, you cannot go pay T. Higgins and Chase and Burrow. So T. Higgins got to go. He has to be the one out the door. And why not happen this season and go capitalize on value while you can? That's my take on it. If you lose on Sunday night to the Giants, T. Higgins is available.
Wrap it up.
So you would think that, but the Bengals front office is stupid.
Exactly.
They're not going to do that.
GMs just suck, dude. They're so stupid.
They're awful.
They're so stupid.
If you're like, God, who? No, because
like
it's in
the
division.
only reason I think that T. Higgins isn't signed right now is because I actually don't think they have the money. Like, is
They
that
don't.
the
Yeah,
only
no,
they
they
definitely
don't.
do not have
They
them.
don't.
Like, weren't they selling like the rights to their team or something for more money or something?
Their stadium, they sold their stadium,
Yeah.
Like they have no
or
money.
like the naming rights or whatever.
Like they
And I
paid
get it.
Jamar
Like you paid Joe Burrow like all this fucking kind of money.
and Jamar.
As you should. As you should to Jamar.
Yeah.
But like if you are actively coming to the decision, you're like, hey, we don't have the money. Like, hey, we love you, T. It is what it is. We just don't have any fucking
We just don't have the money.
We actually don't have money as a franchise. Like, it's almost like you have to be like so real with him and be
Yeah.
like, hey, where do you want to go? Like, that's the best.
We
thing
appreciate
can
you,
do.
dude. Like
We appreciate it, brother. Like,
we just
have-
you're just too good.
we are selling the stadium to try to sign you, bro.
We're
They're
so
leg-
broke.
They're legit in a situation where like they have to like damn near hit home runs on every
like,
single draft
have you
pick.
seen like where they like have to walk through to get
Yes.
to from training camp to the
Yeah.
field?
No,
It's
is it
like,
gross?
They have to walk across like 2 streets and like
What?
through civilians and shit. It's
No, stop.
it's so awful.
Dude, you go look at the defensive pieces that they've lost, dude. Like, okay, cornerbacks, they haven't had a good cornerback in a long time. They went and signed Mike Hilton. That was decent. But, like, Jesse Bates is hooping on the Falcons, bro. Hooping. And then fucking Carl Lawson, I don't think Carl Lawson was actually ever bad. They lost Trey Hendrickson. They lost fucking who was their defensive tackle? I'm pretty sure he's gone or he's
DJ
hurt.
Reader.
Yeah,
He's
is
on
he
the
hurt?
Lions.
Yeah, DJ Reader
they
gone.
They still have Anderson, right?
I think they do have Henderson.
Do they have
Yeah,
Hendrickson?
they
You're
have
right. He went from
Hendrickson.
the Saints to the fucking
Yeah, he
Bengals.
went
That was
from the
my bad.
Saints
My
to
bad.
the
Wrong
Bengals.
one. Wrong one. Wrong move.
But that's like it.
But that's like their only piece. They don't have an edge rusher other than him. Like they don't have an outside linebacker. Their middle linebacker is Logan Wilson, unless he's gone.
Their window, we're watching their window close in real time.
So
their window to
fast.
win a Super Bowl was 2 years ago. Those back-to-back years before last year, the 2 years before last year, that was the window. We're legit watching real time a quarterback get paid, and that window shut so fast on a team. And I think we're low key seeing it happen with Dallas. Like this isn't the year, but next year I think we see what the Bengals are this year and next year in Dallas if they lose Micah Parsons.
The only reason I think Dallas is fine, they are just so fucking beat up. Like I almost can't. You guys are. It's Dak and friends, dude. Like we were talking about it. Like everybody
Dak and
is
friends.
still. Cooks just hit IR. Like you don't already have running backs. Your O line is destroyed. Your whole defense is destroyed. Like I almost can't even like.
I got tough ass win in Pittsburgh though.
Like I almost don't even want to give you like a one-off year or whatever. But like if there was one, it's this year. Like God forsaken, it's fucking Trayvon Digg and friends and fucking Dak and friends.
Like Demarion Overshown.
Who is that?
Dude,
no, he's a dog. He's a dog.
No, I know he is, but they were coming out talking about him like he is like some all-pro when nobody knew who he was 4 weeks ago.
He's a dog, though.
This guy, man, he's been working so hard for a long time. Shut the fuck up. We didn't know who this guy was a month ago.
No, I didn't.
He's the same LBE, Sean Lee, weak side linebacker for the Dallas Cowboys. All right,
but he's so good. He puts his heart and soul on the field, man.
He does. He
is a dog, bro. That motherfucker is a dog.
Oh
my god.
Eric, like, save us.
Don't come out and act like this guy is some crazy defender. He ain't insane.
He trying, man.
He's trying. For sure.
Trying. But like,
yeah,
but the thing with the Cowboys, they can't afford to have a fucking a year where you give them grace. Like they can't afford to do that because now they got to go pay Micah, unless they already did. I don't know. Was he going into 5th year now?
I don't know.
June.
Micah's the only one that's not paid.
That's what I thought. They're gonna have to pay Micah. They're gonna. They just paid Dak.
Yep.
And CD. The only reason why I think it's next year, which is the one-off, is because this team is already, obviously it's banged up, but when they were healthy, we knew they weren't good enough. And now you have Dak paid. Now you have CD paid. Are you going to be able to pay Micah Parsons? And you already have Jerry Jones, who don't like to pay anybody in general. So it's like, where do you get better? How do you get better? It has to be you just get lucky and just get an absolute star out of the draft day one. The Cowboys are never going to be bad enough to bottom out. So
I think you're right, but I also think we're never going to get to the point. If Dak is healthy, we're not going to lose, or we're not going to win like less than 7 games with Dak, CD, Trayvon Diggs. This team's always going to be able to win 8-9 games, but it's not always going to be able to break that ceiling because of these contracts that we have. But we're still always going to be able to get a team that's going to at least contend for some sort of the division or get talked about because, I don't know, we just do.
No, I feel it. This can kind of get us into talking about Sunday night and the Steelers, kind of transitioning into them, because I know Will is,
trash ass team, boy.
What is it?
3 turnovers, y'all still lost.
Dude, okay. I was going at it. I didn't want to do it Sunday night. I was so fucking mad after that game, bro.
You were over it with Stroh.
Oh my god. No, Stroh, like, I wasn't trying to disagree when we were talking fucking with Stroh about anything that he was saying, because he wasn't wrong, but I also don't think I was wrong, because if you look at the stats, bro, Dallas had double the fucking offensive yards we did. Now, I'm not saying, but they only put up 20 points. So our defense in the red zone played very, very well.
To the Justin Fields experience,
buddy. But we got fucking killed out of yards. And I'm not saying that Justin Fields, or I'm not saying that our defense is playing well. Like the last 2 weeks, our defense has played very poorly. But it sucks when you're missing Alex Highsmith across from TJ Watt. It sucks when then you lose Nick Herbig and you have, I don't even know, fucking Warren Moon playing left linebacker. His last name's Moon. I don't know who the fuck that guy is. Like, what's happening? That guy got called up to the practice squad last week to fucking be our backup because we have no outside linebacker depth. DeMarvin Leal is a defensive end playing outside linebacker. Guess what? He got hurt. Okay, cool. Now, I can't say anything because the Cowboys are also just as beat up as us. But you go out there and it's like
At home,
and fucking Arthur Smith. Like, there's no creativity on that offense, man. Arthur Smith, we had one creative play, and it was a flip play to Pat Freiermuth, my king. Yeah. But there's no creativity. It's outside zones every fucking, like I said in the chat, I said it looks like I'm watching Matt Canada offense again, but instead of inside zone, it's outside zone because every fucking first and second down, what do? We line up in 12 personnel and we hand the ball to Najee Harris for 3 yards. Dude, his no vision ass, like, fuck, man. We're missing Jalen Warren so bad, and it's so obvious. And then I saw reports that Mike Tomlin on why George Pickens didn't play the game. He's on a snap management. Are we in the MLB with Paul Skeens? Like, well, George Pickens is 23, and he is our best offensive weapon. Why is he not on the field every single play? Like, why is he not out on the field every single play? He should have a few snaps off. You don't see the Cowboys letting CD be like, hey, you're out this fucking drive because like there's no reason. You're just out. Oh, what the fuck are we doing? What are we talking about? So you're telling me like that could be on Tomlin, but that also could be on Arthur Smith calling the plays that don't have Pickens in the formation, man. Like, what are we doing? We don't have our playmakers on the field. There is legitimately no creativity on that fucking offense. And it's partially it's Arthur Smith, and maybe it's Tomlin. We don't have the playmakers to do it either. We didn't go sign a number 2 in the fucking offseason, man. Our 2 is fucking Van Jefferson. There's only so much you can do with that.
What?
And he had a good game last night.
Oh my god! And like Kyle Allen came in and threw a beautiful, like Fields went out for a second. Kyle Allen came in, threw a beautiful ball over the middle of the field to Pat Freiermuth. The rest of the game, we didn't use the middle of the field again. All of our routes are fucking 10-yard, 15-yard out. Like, we're running levels concepts, and they're all out routes. Like, I'm watching Justin Fields run a rollout to the right and finding no one because nobody's open because it's 3 levels routes, 5, 10, 15-yard out routes. There's just no creativity, and it showed. It showed against the Cowboys. That Cowboys defense, with how beat up they are, looked fucking all-star against us because we couldn't move the fucking rock. So it's frustrating. We're in purgatory. I don't know if it's Tomlin. I don't think Tomlin. I love Tomlin as a coach. He has proven that he can win. He can't win in the playoffs, and he's obviously not good at hiring. No, and he's not good at hiring staff. He's just not. The only staff he hired that were good was Brian Flores. And what'd he do? Leave. So there's only our offensive coordinators have never been good. Even when we had Big Ben and AB and Le'Veon Bell, we had fucking, I don't even remember his fucking name. Big Ben hated him. He went to Arizona, was pissed with Kyler, and got fired for Cliff King. Like, I'm putting that on Tomlin. He can't hire offensive coordinators. And then I'm also putting it on the offensive coordinators because at this point, you got to realize something isn't working, and you got to come up with something more creative than this. We're not moving the ball. Again, we didn't move the ball against a Dallas Cowboys team that had, I don't even know who was on their defensive line, dude. I don't even know who was starting at linebacker other than fucking DeMarvion Overshown. And I only found out about him last week because I was like, damn, that's a big ass dude fucking running at the fucking ball carry. He's 6'4", 250. Motherfuckers diving, like doing dolphin dives on the field. And then it's like, okay, Trayvon Diggs is out there. Cool. Who's their number 2? Amari
Lewis.
Fucking Amari Oruwariye. He got called up last week from the practice squad. And we're not moving the rock. It's just, as a Steeler fan, it sucks because we were 3-0, man. We looked so good. And we're playing teams we should beat. And then we go out and lose to them both. We should have beat you guys with the roster you have right now. Didn't. We should have. No, that's what I'm saying. We didn't. We should have. And then the week before that, we should have beat the Colts.
Aren't you guys in first place?
And we didn't.
It's not because we're
still in first place. Not because we should be. We shouldn't be. Like, we're not playing like we should be.
A whole lot of bitching from the top.
God damn.
Just like,
Like,
the Vikings shouldn't be in first.
we're gonna go play the Ravens, and Derrick Henry's gonna
Can't
run
believe
for
this is my
400
life.
yards.
Smiling through the pain.
Man, I'm good, man. I'm good now. Nick, congrats, man.
Thank you.
Y'all so good.
I played really good.
Y'all so good, man.
Uh,
God.
we can get into Monday night game. I feel like the only thing I have to say is it doesn't matter who's on offense for KC. They're just gonna make it work. There's always gonna
Juju.
be able to just make it happen.
Juju number one.
Hooping.
Juju's all of a sudden more than equipped to be the number one. Travis
It was actually
Kelsey's
pretty
back.
Cool to see.
Kareem Hunt looks like he should have never been out of the league.
Two-player Juju was cut by the Patriots. Kareem Hunt cut by the Browns, and they just totaled like 200 yards.
We said that last week.
Smiling through the pain.
They
Like,
got thrown away. They were throwaways. They're
There was-
hooping.
It just doesn't
This is
matter.
what Kansas City does, man. Like,
I let out a big when it was the fourth quarter and Mahomes got out of the pocket to get a first
oh my
down.
God, when he dove.
I was sitting
We
there.
were
I'm like, oh, I've never seen a quarterback. His aura gets him out of situations where he should be getting lit up.
No, we were dead ass. Me and Alonzo were dead ass making that was a little Mahomey joke, and he stops. He's like, "No, dead ass, that's just Mahomes." He just does. No one else is doing that. You show me
It's just
any
him and
other
Lamar, maybe.
The way he was moving and then dove for that first time, no other quarterback is fucking doing that. I don't care how mobile they are. The way he avoided everybody and then threw himself at the first down for them to not even give it to him and then have to challenge it and then they gave it to him.
I wish I had the clip because there was one where he was also getting out of the pocket and he stepped up and ran to the left. It might have been the same play, but before all that, but he got out of the pocket and I think a defensive player legit just fell right at his feet and nobody hit him and he just tripped and fell. I'm like, I've never with how much Patrick Mahomes does get out of the pocket and goes to the sideline and gets the first downs. I'm like, there is never ever. It'll be somebody where he's running along the sideline and he's clearly out of bounds and somebody pushes him 15 yards. People are just stupid. Oh my God!
It's just so crazy because they're 5-0. Whatever, we all expected them to be 5-0, but Mahomes is doing just enough. That's what his thing is. He's just doing enough. It's literally game manager Mahomes. He's gonna lead the league in interceptions, and they're gonna go fucking 17-0. What the fuck?
He didn't throw a touchdown pass this week.
No,
he didn't.
He didn't.
He has been one of the worst fantasy quarterbacks ever. I needed 32 out of him. That's a lot, but I'm just saying. Mahomes used to be putting up numbers. He's had over 20 fantasy points. I don't know, Nick. What'd you tell me once this year or something like that?
Something like that.
He ain't putting shit up, and they're winning games.
He had 320 yards with no touch
and a pick.
Well, he could have. There were two chances he should have. When he got that shuttle pass to Kelsey, he should have scored, and then Juju dropped the pass, and he should.
Yeah, that is true.
So there were a couple touchdowns he had there, but yeah, he's I don't know. Mahomes does not look good. He looks bad. He looks like a bad quarterback right now.
He doesn't look good, but in that same exact
he doesn't
breath,
have to look good. That's the thing.
That's what I was gonna say. When he knows there isn't a thought at all. It's a fact. He knows if he gets the ball last, he's gonna go down and win. And he knows his defense is going to be good enough to go get the stops when they need to.
Yeah.
So, all he needs to do, he needs to be better about the picks, for sure. But as long as he's keeping the ball out of harm's way, which he needs to get better at throughout the year, and I think he will, who's going to beat this Chiefs team? Because they're great at stopping the run, so you have to beat them through the air. And not a lot of teams are good enough to beat them through the air that they're going to play. And then it's we played a perfect fucking game. Oh, shit, they got the ball last with 2 minutes to go. We gave too much time on the clock. They're going to get into field goal range because Buckner is just automatic. So, you have to damn near play a perfect ball game and leave Patrick Mahomes legit zeros on the clock to beat this Chiefs team. It doesn't matter who they have running the ball. It doesn't matter who they have in the receiver room. As long as they have Spags on defense, Andy Reid in the coaching, and Patrick Mahomes. It doesn't even need Kelsey at this point because they've done it throughout the first couple of games of the year.
Noah Gray.
So, that you need to play a perfect ball game to beat the Chiefs. That's what it's come to. It doesn't matter who they have playing. Because they're just going to get it done.
That's what I'm telling you. The Chiefs are never going to be on paper, the best team, going into the playoffs. You have, the Ravens. I think the Ravens are and even, the preseason, you could have said that, the Bengals were going to be, the best team going into the playoffs, or like the Texans are even better than them. But then whoever the Chiefs play, they're just gonna beat them. Like it doesn't matter how or like why they beat them, they'll just win. Like it's just very weird. And that's why you bet on the Chiefs throughout the whole playoffs.
If they were fully healthy and fully loaded with how Rice was playing and how Pacheco was playing, I think this would have been the only year where they would have went to the playoffs, and I could have legit told myself roster-wise, they're the best team because they have a true one. They have a really, really good running back. But now, since they're beat up, they're going to go into the playoffs banged up because I don't even know. I think the Rashee Rice thing is still like up in the air.
He's out for the year.
He's out for the year. They actually
officially out for the year. He's having season injury or surgery.
LCL.
Okay, so
I don't even know what that is, but
they're going to be in the market to go get another receiver. So whoever that is,
oh my god, if they get T Higgins, I'm gonna kill myself.
Not gonna be T Higgins.
I guarantee if it's somebody like
That'd be
D-Hop
so
who's
wild.
on the older side, like they're gonna make D-Hop's gonna throw it back like
D-Hop,
6
Amari
years.
Cooper,
Yeah.
fucking
Any of those guys still though.
somebody.
God,
If they're
Amari
making
Cooper on that team.
If they're making it work with Juju,
Fuck.
putting up over 100, like, bro, they're gonna make it work with whoever they go trade for. It doesn't matter.
Oh,
God, if they get Amari Cooper, that team. Oh, Amari is so good. He's just he's in purgatory. He's stuck.
to be fair, he's kind of like dropping a bunch of balls this year and kind of.
Has he been? I haven't seen the Browns play, to be honest. They're just never like they're
Mark
so
Cooper's
bad.
also kind of been playing like shit, but he's also has a lot of like uncatchable passes.
He's just fed up. That's what I think it is.
In a Steelers uniform here real soon.
But KC's just you have to play a perfect game to beat them. If it's anywhere, not even just on the dot of perfect, you're probably gonna lose. And that's
just
what
win.
it's really
Hate
came
it.
to.
I hate it.
And with it
Good teams find a way to
looking
win.
the way it is right now, I don't know if there's a team in the AFC that's going to beat them.
It's the Ravens. It's the only team. It's the only team in the AFC that I'm going to look at and be like, hey, this team could probably maybe beat them. Unless maybe the Texans. And the only way I'm going to say the Texans are going to beat them is if they're at home. If you're in Arrowhead, you're going to lose. Like it is what it is. You're just going to lose in Arrowhead.
The only team I think is the Ravens. Maybe I think if you're putting the Texans in there, I got to throw the Bills on that same level because it's kind of the same instance
Fucking
to
Bills,
where
man.
like I think those are the only. It's really only the Ravens, and the Ravens even are then a big question mark. But I mean, the only team out of the NFC is what, the Niners. If the Niners got fully healthy, and they're not even healthy,
Maybe the Lions.
Don't
maybe-
feel like playing
maybe-
football.
and even the Lions, that defense,
Yeah, very
Like-
questionable.
so I don't know. It's from right now, it's looking like they're just gonna walk their way back to the Super Bowl, and whoever comes out on the NFC side is gonna be probably the best chance to beat them, whoever it is. But that's all for just the talking points. We can get into the power rankings and wrap it up. Last week's power rankings, we had KC at 1, Vikings at 2, Ravens at 3, Detroit at 4, Bills at 5, Texans at 6, Commanders at 7, Bucks at 8, Packers at 9, and 49ers at 10. And now we are going into week 6. At the power rankings, we had at 10, we had the Buffalo Bills. 9, we had the Bucks. 8, we had the Packers. 7, we had the Falcons. 6, we had the Commanders. 5, we had the Ravens. 4, we had the Texans. 3, we had Detroit. Number 2 and number 1 are still the Minnesota Vikings and the Kansas City Chiefs
Yup.
for the power rankings. This also might be Falcons' first time on the list.
Yeah, I think in a
That
long
would make
time.
sense.
I think so.
Yeah, because they just looked bad to start the year, so we probably didn't have them on here.
Yeah. But those are the new power rankings going into week 6. We're kind of wrapping up this week 5 slate. We're going to have a lot to talk about this next week as well. But do you guys want to wrap it up there?
Yes, sir.
Nick, your cat tweaking, bro.
You just fall over.
Thank you guys for tuning into the Barrel Talk podcast. Hope to see you tune in to future episodes.
You're